What up, world, DJ what coming in with some sweet BT21 theory crafting for you guys. I've already recorded this once, but guess what? I didn't hit freaking record, so hopefully I can absolutely do us a solid and, you know, give it that same energy that I did the first time. But in this video, I'm giving you my rendition of how I would build Armor Rush in BT21. So if this is a video for you, stick around and enjoy, grab yourself a drink. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell because I do videos on the reg for real. So here we go, take two, let's go. So as you can see, Armor Rush fully displayed out, and I'm hoping you guys are the, you know, the homies that you say you are, and actually watch the full video because I can see the drop off, people. I can see drop. Don't be like, yeah, cute, yeah, I'm done. But regardless, here are my ratios and all the good stuff. So the main premise of this is really relying on the aspect of the rush element while still using the already existing tools that we have in our arsenal. We've got amazing support in the previous sets, and the new support that we are getting now just really kind of extends on that and gives it a nice breath of life, which is always good. So going on to the eggs we do run 5, which is kind of different for me because, you know, I'm usually just a solid 4 be done with, but because in an Armor Rush kind of style, you're going to be burning through your eggs. You're going to be kind of pushing out, you know, Veemon push out jobs are good, and it's very rare that you'd be kind of evoing in the back unless you have to. So we do go back to the old faithful, which is going to be the Pokemon from BT14. The reason why I've actually put this back in is, one, it is restricted to 1. But the good thing about this is that if you happen to have this, you know, as your first egg, and you go in with a Veemon and your, you know, it's your turn first, it means that you can push out and basically get a jamming swing because they're not going to have anything out on field, which is going to be good for us. But outside of that, most of the times this probably won't necessarily proc off, but it is a nice egg to obviously have as a, you know, another option. But primarily we still lean on the BT16 Demi Veemon egg because the all turns just giving us an additional 1,000 is going to be huge, because 9 times out of 10 we are going to be at 2 or more colors when we are evoing upon to our kind of, you know, champion to then level 6 and onwards. So that concludes there for the eggs. Now going over to the rookies. Rookies run a solid 14 on this bad boy. It's important that you get a rookie first time because it is sadness if you don't. But we're bringing our boy back from retirement. It is Bob Marley special, Jamming V, Sailor V, coming back at a solid 3. The reason why I've actually brought this back is because, once again, you want to be pressing aggro. You want to be putting the opponent on the timer instead of ourselves being the thing. So if we don't happen to have the Pokemon egg, and we have this Jamming V, it means that we can pretty much secure a swing and then evo into an armor form, preferably going into a Magnum, which is always the play. So very good right here. Also, because it has got jamming, it does work quite well with your Fire Rocket, means that when you do go for a swing and you happen to bump into a 16k body, you do armor purge, it will go back into this, and the jamming check will then proceed through, meaning that you're going to be a-okay unless you trip into an option. Always sadness. So then we go in with the Searcher V. We're looking at it 3. The reason why we've actually dropped this down because we do have an option which pretty much does the same thing and actually adds a lot more value than what this does. Because let's face it, guys, this end of turn DNA rarely, if never, comes up. But the on play, saucy. You know, we want to be revealing that top 3. We want to be getting our free trade Digimon, and we also want to be getting our Davis, being the primary thing. But outside of that, that's all it's doing. Then we got a 4-4 split on these two right here. Obviously, the promo is really good because it's that when attacking is not once per turn, we were able to get that draw. It is crucial in an Armor Rush deck that we do get draws because we do want to be getting our kind of combo pieces, and we do swing multiple times if we have the right setup. On top of that, if we do happen to have a Tamer out, we are able to reduce the distribution cost by 1, which is going to be good if we evo into a free trade Digimon, which our armor forms are, which is always welcomed right there. There is an argument that you could probably drop this down to 3, but at the moment I'm doing a bit of a 4-4 split because we have this absolute nuts card right here, which is going to be the BT21 V. This is strong because that your turn ain't once per turn. Really huge right there because we're able to reduce the distribution cost by 1 way we are evoing into a armor form trait Digimon, which we're most likely going to be doing. On top of that, it also has a great inheritable giving our Digimon 2000 DP, which is really good for our armor forms. Make sure that we can obviously be swinging and not necessarily dying because we do have ways to kind of force armor purge. So Before, we was like, come on, die, and somehow we suddenly have that jam in permanently. Whereas now we have an option to actually not die and force the purge and actually get massive value from doing so. So it's actually more beneficial that we don't actually die to a security check or die to whatever the opponent's doing now, which is nice. So then going over to the champions. So champions, we run a solid 12. So we've got the kind of the ones that we run at 2, which are kind of like our utility-esque Digimon. And then we got the ones at 3, which are like kind of like the ones that really put out the work. So we do go with the Flamedramon promo at 2. Originally, I did have this at 3 because I was thinking of doing something saucy, but I feel like Fire Rocket goes a bit more the distance than, say, Lightning Blade. But with this, it adds that further bit of control being the thing, and that's due to the raid mechanic. So if they happen to have unsuspended Digimon out, we're still being aggressive whilst controlling, being the key thing here. Because when this Digimon's attack target is switched, your opponent has the top card of their security to hand. They don't have to reveal it. They can hide it, do whatever. But we've essentially done a check whilst crashing into their unsuspended Digimon. The highest unsuspended Digimon being the key thing there. So really solid in terms of what the promo Flame is doing, even for the cost of 2, which is always welcome. Now we go over to the new Magnamon. So this, I'm not going to lie, in this current format, it ain't so hot. I'm like, because everyone's immune to Digimon effects. Swear to God, I'm tired of that phrase being printed. But it is good because it does unsuspend being the thing here. If it didn't have that, this would even make the cut. I kid you not. So it does have block and armor purge, which is pretty much standard from any form of Magnamon. But because it can unsuspend when we Digivolve, then one of your opponent's Digimon gives minus 2k DP for the turn for each of the armor traded Digimon that we have in our trash, which is great, but very situational. I mean, if we're fully loaded in our trash with armor forms, this goes hard. Sometimes it doesn't go as hard as you would think, and it's not till the end of the opponent's turn, which is annoying, because it means that if they've just literally got that Digimon immunity, this ain't doing anything right there. And I just don't think we'd be able to build up the amount of trash in order for this to be as potent as we would hope. Depends on how long the game goes. I mean, if it's going on so long, it's kind of, you know, beating the it's not rushing at that point. So yeah. Then we go over to the Digimon. This Digimon has had a level up for real, because now it has piercing and it also has armor purge. But the key thing here is that it can suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, not level based, compared to the other one where it was level 4 or lower. So that alone goes pretty massive. And then this Digimon gets additional 2000 DP to the end of the opponent's turn. We'd love to the end of the opponent's turn right there. Well done, Bandai. Because what this means is that this Digimon's got some pretty high gains. I think it would be pretty much sitting at 11k with the right stack that you have. So definitely eating it up. Nice bit of control, which is always great. Obviously, our Flamedramon and our Digimon are the control cards at our arsenal. Then BT8 Magnamon still goes hard. Once again, that unsuspend. We love to see it when Digivolving. And then we gain additional 2k DP per armor traded Digimon. Armor form Digimon in trash, being the thing. I didn't want to say armor because there is also legendary arms. Even that's such as I think they're actually armor form. But anyway, that's besides the point. We don't run them in this deck. But the thing that I like about this is it's to the end of the opponent's turn. It can unsuspend, which is great. And with the option that we have, that kind of gives us a bit of a pseudo blast kind of mechanic if one of our armor cards are trashed, or top of our cards are trashed, then effectively we can evo into this, being that depending on how many armor cards we have in our actual trash, gives that nice bit of boostage action, which is very strong right there. So definitely run that as a 3 of, and then we still run this absolute menace and a 3. This card goes hard right there because it's also a security bomb. Digivolve is a menace. It is an absolute menace, and this actually happens before the actual battle, being the key thing here. So if the opponent's swinging in with something that may have been hiding this, Digivolve that, then battle, and then that will die. And then if we happen to have a level 3 Digimon out on field, we are able to evo into this without paying the cost, and then effectively we'll then be able to get this with digital effect, is that we're able to trash the top card of one of your opponent's Digimon for each color that they have. So very strong right there. Then return one of the opponent's Digimon with no distribution cards to hand. Really strong card. Such a disruption card right there. Once again, further bit of control. Then we weave into the level 6s, so currently no level 5s, which, once again, subject to change. We're going to see how this meta goes. The reason why I kind of don't really do these decks that often is because, for me personally, I like to feel the experience. Get my ass beat, level up, take a dub, then present. Right now it's purely theory, going on the base of, you know, the meta that we're currently in. So at the moment there is no level 5s, but there's definitely room to kind of either throw in some aces or throw in some level 5s with the inevitable attack target can't be switched kind of mechanics right there. But we do go in with the absolute menace, which is going to be Magma's Antibody. Why am I running this card in the deck? Why would you not? It is such a freaking powerhouse. Even though obviously our main premise is the kind of the rush mechanic, sometimes we need a wall. Sometimes we need a wall for the opponent to just beat the head out. The Juggernaut can't break through this. So this is the reason why we have to go in with the Magma's Antibody, but just because it's just such an aggressive card in its own right. And the fact that it can actually swing twice, and we can, if we do have an armor traded Digimon, we can actually use Fire Rocket on this being the thing. It doesn't have armor form in its traits, but it will require an armor form or Flame Digimon, either one you want to put out to apply it onto this, and then it can go bang, 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 which is once again huge. And on top of that, we can use it to evo into our other spicy tech option, which is going to be then the Omnimon X Antibody, which is once again just a strong card. We won't necessarily get the kind of the delete the field kind of mechanic because we don't run X Antibody in this list, but we do still get to bot deck one of the opponent's Digimon, which bot decking is a strategy to win a game. So very strong card right here. Has raid, has piercing, has blocker, and you can attack without even suspending. Huge right there. So that is for the kind of level 6, level 7 kind of palette. Let's go over to now the Tamers. So Tamers, we are just only running 2, and we are going to go with the Promo Davis because this is just free value. Our whole rookie lineup is Veemon, and this card enables us to play a Veemon for free. We never use the second effect to play to evo into an XV, unless they make an XV that is universal for armor and imperial, but at the moment it's literally just the first effect that we just play that V without paying the cost, because realistically we're going to be playing a Veemon for free cost anyway. But the thing with this is that start main, if you have a Digimon with 3 in its traits, gain the memory, which does come up quite nicely right there. And then we do go in with the goat. We're rocking this at 3. There could be an argument that you could probably flip the ratios to run more 3 the promo and then 2 of this, but I feel like if you have these set up, it goes a long way right there, just because of the main effect, which is huge. It does have a start of main, which if the opponent has Digimon, we gain the memory, which once again comes up quite nice. 9 times out of 10, the opponent's gonna have some form of Digimon out. Does suck if they don't, but it is what it is. But by suspending this Tamer and trashing the top stat card of one of your armor form trait Digimon, draw 1 and gain a memory, which comes up pretty freaking nicely right there. Unfortunately, if you had like 3Ds out, and you're gonna have to, if you want to kind of get that gain a memory kind of mechanic, you'd have to have more Digimon out. But ultimately, if you evoing into your Digimon, you could obviously suspend the other Davis to then obviously trigger this game of memory. So this really is just armor texture in a body, like in a Tamer. It really is just that, and that's why it is very strong, because with the option, sheesh, it goes hard. It goes really hard. I can't wait for me to talk over that. So speaking of options, so options, let's just kind of briefly see what's going on here. So the main thing with options is that I've kind of focused, as you can see, quite a bit on the consistency. It is a sad day if you can't play Digimon, and it's even more sadder if you brick with armor. It's just, you're not doing anything. Like, all of our armors have a nice, when Digimon effect. we're Digivolving if we're just having to hard slam shit. So this is the reason why it is prevalent that we see our rookies, in order for us to do stuff, being the thing. So Fire Rocket running at 2. There is an argument that you can boost up to 3. Sometimes I do feel like when you have 3, it can be a bit cluttered. 2 is just kind of just okay, because it means that you can effectively win. Like, just using 1 can go a long way. Being the thing with the right kind of memory setup and Tamers and all that jazz. But the thing here is obviously it's going to be a main aggressor card, which is able to give you an additional security attack. Huge. Also, with security effect, is actually pretty relevant in this meta, because most Digimons do have blocker. So yeah, just, you know, them swinging in, tricking into this. Oh, what's that? Oh, sorry, you've not got option protection. Get gone. that's nice. It's absolutely nice. So yeah, running that at 2. There is something that you can boost it to 3. If you want to boost it to 3, go for 3. But let's talk about this. This card goes so hard. It's freaking nuts in terms of its application, because this is essentially a pseudo search option, whilst them being your power play option as well. Especially works fantastically with the Tamer. It also acts as a nice little pseudo ace option if we happen to have to purge on the opponent's turn there as well. So use it for play cost 3. It is blue, so we can search it out pretty freaking comfortably, which is great. Real top 3 cards. We're able to add 1 card with Davis in the name, and 1 free trait among them to the hand, and then trash the rest. So we can set up the trash, which is great, because obviously we want to put those armors in there and all that good stuff. And then we're able to then add this to the battle area, and then all turns, which is fantastic, when a top stat card of any of your armor form trait Digimon is trashed, delay. 1 of your Digimon may Digivolve into a Digimon card with armor trait in the hand without paying the cost. Freaking huge. This is so cracked, because it's all turns. It is all turns. If you just set this up just right, and you could proc your Davis to just basically force an armor purge, you can use this. You can trigger this delay, Evo for free. You've netted their memory at that point. You've actually netted their memory in order for you to just pop off even further. It's freaking huge. And then even on top of that, if it's on an opponent's turn, having like a bit of a nice pseudo ace option is kind of nice. Like, you know, Evoing into a either start deck Magnum to effectively strip some sources and maybe bounce a rookie to hand that they had planned for a swing for game. Could come quite nice, because it means that you can at least block as well, which is always sweet. It's, yeah, this is a nutty card, very strong, a lot of combo potential. Then go with this little kind of cheeky mainstay, Ice Wall. We run this at 1. Reason being, a lot of Digimon like to multi-swing. So if they're gonna multi-swing, no. You're gonna pass me 4 memory. That's what's gonna happen. Which, that is a lot of memory right there. Also, trigger from security, gain 2 memory. Honestly, it is rage inducing if you just happen to bump into a freaking ice wall, or even get locked by an ice wall. Then we go with a Scramble. Scramble goes once again hard in this deck. It gives us an option to, you know, recur some of our options. Oh, actually not our options, our Digimon, which is going to be huge. And on top of that, able to play out a rookie from trash with 2k, which is once again powerful right there. Just that reduction on the Evo cost is going to be nice for us, especially when we go into our Magnumons. Then we go to blue memory boost, because once again, you want to make sure that you have memory banked up, especially in this particular list. It might be that we don't always have our Tamers establishment set up. At least nice little cheeky blue memory boost does come up quite clutch, and also to net memory, and also able to dig top 4. Obviously, sometimes you don't want to dig too deep, because we could actually just, you know, whiff on our Tamers being things. That's the reason why I have knocked it to 2, and this is why we run the mentals at 3, because obviously it's crucial for us to not dig too deep, but deep enough to get a plethora of our blue cards being the thing. And then if we have to reduce that Evo cost by 2 for next Evo, we can do with a cheeky delay option right there, which is once again massive. Lastly, we do run the Awakening of the Golden Knight just at 1 because it is restricted to 1. And this goes pretty hard in this deck because effectively we can actually evo into a normal Magnamon on top of our armors being the player out there, which is also pretty clutch. And if we have to obviously get a cheeky swing, we can get a cheeky swing. But also we do have the DP minus in protection there as well to the end of the opponent's turn if they happen to, you know, do that. And then if it's from security, we're able to reclaim one of our Magnamons from our trash back to our hand. So there's a lot of applications that we could do here. Obviously, reduce that evo cost into a Magnamon is obviously once again being the key use of what this card was used before it was basically restricted to 1. But yeah, it's still a very strong card and still definitely usable in this list. But guys, that is your boy done. Woo, man, that energy came back again. Boy, you can't slow me down. So tell me what you think, guys. Drop a comment in the box, let me know. Let's let the armor gang rise up right here because it's our time. It is our time. I think the list most likely will probably tweak a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. As soon as we get to the local meta scene, it might be that the Tamers might increase a little bit. It might be that we do run some level 5s. It really depends on how the meta kind of shapes up, but the key things here, the key takeaways is like, obviously with armors, you want to be rushing down as quickly and efficiently. You want to put the opponent on a timer than yourself, and you do have options to effectively play to your advantage and really go fast when you need to, being the key thing here. But that's your boy done. If you enjoyed the video, smash it with a like. As standard, stay safe, stay fly, and I'll catch you in the next one. That's your boy D Dread, off the mic.